Hello business friends, this video would be very useful for all business owners who enter into government contracts, and the government contract has payment terms of back to back. By back to back, I mean to say the employer of the contract would pay the contractor only once the employer of the contract receives payment from his or her client. This is a very common practice, not only in India but world over, and it started with civil contracts, but now it has found its way into a lot of IT projects also, where the IT project is actually taken by an organization which has the eligibility criteria for the government tender, and it further subcontracts to smaller players in the market. If you watch this video till the end, you can learn the arguments and the law which will help you recover your money from your contractor, rather employer of the contract. I will give you some examples of contracts which normally have this kind of back-to-back payment term. In civil contracts, especially in case of PWD and CPWD, the cost of the civil structure is probably 80% of the total project cost. So most of the CPWD, PWD tenders give the right to the civil contractor to further subcontract the specialized work or jobs. For example, the electrical wiring or the electrical work in a building is subcontracted. The air conditioning work is subcontracted. The data cabling, installing of EPBX, fire extinguishing equipment, then the active networking components, the passive networking components, these are all subcontracted to smaller players whose value in terms of work is also less as compared to the main civil work. The second kind of contracts are the contracts which are backed by large PSUs from other government departments with the right to subcontract, and these PSUs further subcontract by keeping their margin and protecting their cash flows by inserting this clause that they will pay the subcontractor only once it receives the payment from the government or its main employer of the contract. Most of us who do this subcontract or act as subcontractors would have experienced this, that once we ask for our payment, there is a standard reply from the contractor or rather the main contractor that हमारी तो अभी पेमेंट नहीं आई है, जब हमारी पेमेंट आ जाएगी हम आपको दे देंगे. Once we receive the payment from the customer, we will make the payment, and this payment continues to unreasonably get delayed because there is a standard clause, and then they say that you have executed, you have agreed to that clause, so you will have to wait. I have seen cases where the payments have got delayed for years altogether. In one such case, the payment had got delayed for almost 7 years, and this poor subcontractor did not know that there is something called limitation law in this country, and he has lost that right to approach any court of law for relief in getting its outstanding due. Now, coming down to what is the argument one should advance in front of such contractors who delay the due payment unreasonably by taking reliance of this clause. Friends, after extensive study of case laws, I have seen various High Court judgments and Supreme Court judgments where this back-to-back payment clause has been very well interpreted. In one such case law, which is similar on facts, the Supreme Court says that this back-to-back payment clause definitely means that once the payment is received by the contractor from the main or final employer of the contract, he has to pay the subcontractor. But having said that, it does not mean that if the contractor does not receive payment from the main contractor, he will not pay the subcontractor, which means the liability to pay is with the contractor and not the main contractor. Because what has been seen, that this contractor, because of his own work or his own defaults, does not get payment from the main contractor, and in turn he holds the payment of the subcontractor. This is one argument which business owners you can use to demand your payment from the contractor. The second way out is that do not endlessly wait. Do not endlessly wait for your sweat money, for your due payment. You can always exercise your right of arbitration, because most of these contracts have a dispute resolution through an arbitration clause. So please exercise that right by sending a notice invoking arbitration to get relief on your payment. Otherwise, I can quote n number of examples where the poor subcontractors had to suffer because they could not approach the court of law, or the main contractor went bankrupt, and these poor subcontractors had to lose their money and their sweat money became a bad debt. Business owners, I suggest you should be proactive in recovering your payments, especially in these times of the pandemic where cash is the king. Thank you for watching this video. Keep making profits. Goodbye.